Let's bring in my man, Charles Barkley, of course, Basketball Hall of Famer, two-time Olympic gold medalist, and just one of the greatest people of all time hanging out with us here right now. And Charles, thanks so much for hanging out with me today, man. And first of all, I got to get your opinion on this whole Ron Lochte situation. Apparently, he's fabricated this situation. If he has fabricated this story, what do you think should be the proper punishment, if punishment should be given to him at all?
Well, I don't think there's a punishment. I think that he's learned a very valuable lesson. Listen, being famous or in the limelight, it's great 2 out of 3 times. When you doing great, it's great. When you get your paycheck, it's great. But when you do something wrong, it sucks. So it's a good learning experience for him. I mean, being famous, it's great 2 out of 3 times. But when you do something wrong or you lose, it's awful. But every time, you know, when they talk good about you when you're winning and when you get your paycheck, it's great. So, I mean, it was obviously stupid to do, but he's a young kid, and hey, all young kids do stupid stuff.
Yeah, couldn't he have avoided this, though? I mean, I know he told, I guess, the situation to his mom. Mom told USA Today. Then Billy Bush interviews him on Sunday. He makes up this story about the gun being pointed to his head. And then Matt Lauer asked him about it again last night, and he still continues that lie. Yeah, I mean, isn't this a situation where he could have stopped this a long time ago?
No, not really. Once he told the first lie about the gun being to his head, you know, they got to obviously investigate if somebody put a gun to your head. So once he told the first big lie, it was out of control then. I mean, this ain't the first time. We've seen, you know, you go back, I mean, I don't want to throw anybody on the bus. We've seen guys, stuff get out of hand. But like I say, once you tell the first lie, you got to ride with the lie.
Have you ever ridden with a lie?
No, that's not the way I do my business. But, like, hey, man, I just don't understand how it got to that situation, because the kid's been a stud for the last X amount of years, and now he just got a bad rap. But like I said, hey, I'm not going to blame a young kid for doing something stupid. He obviously made a mistake, but, hey, he's a young kid. They always do stupid stuff.
All right, Charles Barkley, a forgiven person, hanging out with us here on the Rich Eisen Show. Mike Hill filling in for Rich today. Let's go on to Team USA, and everybody seemed like, oh, they were panicking. Can we just, like Aaron Rodgers said, RELAX after that 27-point win last night against Argentina? Can we relax now?
Well, I think they're going to win the gold medal. I always said they were going to win the gold medal. I think, but they've got to do a much better job in the future, not getting so many ball-dominant guys. You know, listen, there's only one basketball, and they got a terrific team but a bunch of terrific players. But you have to understand there's only one ball to go around, and you got to put more role players. They got DeAndre, who's pretty much the only guy who doesn't need the ball. You probably could throw DeAndre in that, not DeAndre, a man from the Warriors, Draymond.
Draymond Green.
Throw him in that situation who doesn't need the ball. But the rest of the guys are terrific players. They all need the ball to be effective. You know, you look at guys like a Tyson Chandler, who was great in that situation, who's just going to play defense and rebound. One of the best players we had in the Olympics the last few years has been Andre Iguodala, a guy who doesn't need the ball. So I think going forward in the future, I think we're always going to be favored, but you just can't have a bunch of guys who want the ball, who want to score, because it makes your offense very stagnant more than anything.
All right, so Charles, we know you like to go to Vegas. So if I gave you $1,000 to put down on Spain or the United States in this next game, who you putting your money on?
I'm going to go with the United States. You know, they don't have Pau Gasol. Mark Gasol.
Yep.
Pau is getting up there in age. The best game was like a couple years ago, whether it's the Olympics or the World Championship, that went down to the last minute of the game when Spain was in their youth, when they had Mark and Pau. That was the best time. But as you see, like even with Ginobili and those guys yesterday, those other teams are just too old right now. And they don't have the depth that the United States have. That's the biggest difference. Even going back to when I played, the biggest difference, they could put 5 NBA players out there, but they couldn't put 10. And that's when we had our huge advantage.
Talking to Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer, also two-time Olympic gold medalist. Would you trade in one of your gold medals for an NBA title?
Well, they're not the same.
Well, DeAndre Jordan said that the gold medals.
Well, listen, DeAndre is a heck of a player. I don't agree with that. I'm not going to bash the kid because, you know, you look at some of these other people who win a gold medal, it's the highlight of their life. I mean, think about that. I saw that young kid from Wade Newkirk from South Africa who got to run. His mom didn't get to run because of apartheid.
Mm-hmm.
Him winning that gold medal is going to be the greatest thing to happen to him in his life. So I'm not going to poo-poo on winning an Olympic gold medal, but I don't think you can compare it. That's pretty much apples and oranges. It'd be great for DeAndre. First of all, like I say, he's going to win a gold medal. That's pretty impressive because I've said before, winning the Olympics, going to the Olympics is the coolest thing I've ever did in my life. You see all these great stories, but that doesn't even do it justice because NBC is only going to show certain stories. But when you're actually at the Olympics, you hear of 100 of those stories about people who this is the highlight of their life going to the Olympics.
Wow.
But winning a gold medal is really amazing and really cool. But I didn't win the championship, but, I'm good with that. They started this thing in the last few years that if you don't win the championship, your life sucks. And I always laugh because, first of all, it's only guys who never played the game who say that.
Right.
I always call it's the ESPN generation. They got a bunch of idiots who have radio shows who need something to talk about for 4 hours. So they bash guys like myself and Karl Malone and Reggie Miller and now DeAndre and guys like that. But listen, man, I think DeAndre is doing pretty good.
I'm glad I'm not on ESPN radio anymore. Those idiots over there.
Hey, listen, this is one of the great scams going in the world where you get these fools who make up these stories just because they need to come out and have people talk about DeAndre for 4 hours and things like that. Because it's not a win. It's always a win-win situation. You always have people who agree or disagree with you. But it's one of the great scams going where they make up fictitious stories about who's better between LeBron and Michael just to have people call in and argue with them. Like, they're both amazing.
Charles Barkley not embracing debate. Mike Hill hanging out with Charles Barkley on the Rich Eisen Show. Are you following the Olympics? I mean, besides the basketball, are you following the Olympics?
Yes. I've said, well, first of all, I should be clear. I just had hip replacement surgery, so I'm laid up. I had hip replacement surgery about 2 weeks ago, so I'm pretty much bedridden for the next 6 weeks.
Wow.
Thank God for the Olympics. I've watched there's sports that I didn't even realize were sports. I didn't even realize they had badminton in the Olympics. And I'm not sure ping pong should be in the Olympics.
Why not?
Well, because I don't look at that as a real sport, ping pong. But it's been fun to watch just sitting at home, laying in bed, sitting in my chair. But it has really helped me since I got my hip replaced, just sitting around because, you're bored to death.
Mm-hmm.
And they start early in the morning and they go all day. So the Olympics, like I say, they're the greatest sporting event that I've ever been to. But they have really saved me. I'm down for football to start, though.
Right.
I got another month. I got 6 weeks with a walker and 2 weeks with a cane. So I got 2 months of inactivity. And, man, I really need football to kick off because I'm pretty much done now that swimming and track and field stuff is almost over. I need some other sports to come along.
All right, so before the hip surgery, back in your younger days, you're looking at the Olympic sports. What sport, besides basketball, of course, do you think you would have been competitive in the Olympics?
Oh, I don't think you can be competitive with another professional in another sport.
Which sport would you have liked to participate in, or at least tried to participate in?
Mike, that's an interesting question. I mean, I think maybe one of the track and fields, like the 400, the mile race and things like that. I don't think you can win, but you can run a mile at a pretty good pace.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was 25 to 30. But I'm not one of those people who think that you can just, I got too much respect for anybody who play pro sports.
Uh-huh.
The notion, that you can just say, listen, I always tell people, this one of my rules. If Michael Jordan can't do it, it can't be done.
Mm.
If the greatest ever picked up a baseball bat and tried to, and he's going to work harder than anybody. If he couldn't do it, it can't be done. So I know the rest of these mere mortals can't pick up another sport.
So golf is out of the equation for you in the Olympics.
Oh, well, they didn't have golf until this year now. I mean, first of all, golf is my sport. I mean, I play golf and fish pretty much every day. They need fishing in the Olympics, then I can compete.
Okay, you can compete.
But I can't compete with golf, but I can damn sure fish with the best of them.
All right, so if Michael Jordan failed at baseball, what do you think Tim Tebow's going to do?
Well, I don't think, listen, he's going to work really hard, but I don't think you can just pick up a pro sport, Mike. I think it's so funny. When I was playing golf with Tiger back in the day, and when he was at the peak of his superpowers, I had guys who were like club champions, a couple guys who played on the Hooters tour who were friends of mine. And they would say to me, if me and Tiger played golf 100 times, how many times do you think he'd win? I said 100. I said, you guys don't get it. Being the club champion or playing on the Hooters tour, I said, not only Tiger, I don't think you can beat Phil Mickelson.
No.
Any guys like that. I think that we don't realize how great pro players are in different sports.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's why they're professionals, and that's why we sit around looking at them and admiring what they were able to accomplish. On this date in history, Larry Bird played his final NBA, or is this his?
Yeah, this day, August 18th, 1992, Charles, Larry announced his retirement at the age of 35. Got any memories from that 92 Dream Team? That was his last basketball game.
Well, it was a shame he had back problems at the time. But you know what? I just remember having so much fun with that team. You know, it was the last time I think basketball, we didn't have a bunch of egos and guys really cared about just winning. But you remember, I played in 92 and 96. And in 92, it was amazing. We had two different starting lineups. Nobody ever complained. Nobody ever got mad. But then I played in 96, and guys were bitching and complaining about playing time, who was starting. And that's what I always tell people. That's when the NBA started becoming more about my brand than it were about, let's just win the gold medal. Like I say, man, in 92, we had two different starting lineups. Nobody complained. I mean, like, okay, let's just win the gold medal. But like I say, in 92, it was a nightmare for me. Guys were complaining about who started. Guys were complaining about playing time. And that's when I thought the NBA started to descend, where guys were just more concerned about their brand.
Talking to Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer, hanging out with me, Mike Hill, on the Rich Eisen Show. You say you love the NFL. So there's some issues that's happening off the field right now with James Harrison and Clay Matthews. They got into the 25th to participate or at least cooperate with the NFL or face suspension. If you're in those guys' shoes facing PD allegations from Al Jazeera, what would you do?
Well, I'm disappointed in the NFL that they would just like, first of all, you think they actually watch or listen to Al Jazeera?
Well, I don't think so, but obviously they're taking it seriously.
I guarantee you this. I bet my life, I guarantee you Roger Goodell has never watched or read anything about Al Jazeera other than the rumors and innuendo. And the notion that somebody can just say something about you, and I think the reporter recanted. I think he recanted.
He did.
But the notion that somebody can just say something about you and you have to defend yourself, that's ridiculous. I mean, I could say something about you and I don't have to have any proof whatsoever. Even though I might retract it later, Mike, the notion that I could say something about you and then you have to explain to your employer, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hope those guys get together and say, man, we're not talking to you. I mean, some magazine wrote an article saying we did this, but then they recanted. But that's not right. It's not fair at all.
But would you want to clear up your name, because PED use, of course, that's a harsh allegation, and if you know you're innocent, we talked to Brian Urlacher earlier, and Brian said if I'm innocent, I'm going to talk because I want to clear my name up.
Well, if you go there and you say I didn't do it, your name should be cleared.
Right.
But my question is, anybody can level a complaint against you. This is the slippery slope we own in fame right now. People can say whatever they want to about you, and you're guilty until you're proven innocent. I mean, that's the situation we're in right now. You're guilty until you're proven innocent. But it's not fair for somebody who can say, hey, James Harrison's doing PEDs. I'm like, well, what you got? Well, I said it, but I really didn't mean it. But he has to go and defend himself. That's not right.
No, it's not right at all. One thing
it's not right at all.
What I love about you, Chuck, is that not only just basketball, we love your opinions on everything that, you have a thought about. And I understand TNT, you have a new show on race relations that's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, Mike, I'm so sick and tired of race because it's the greatest cancer of my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem we have with race is we never talk about race until something bad happens, and then it's too late.
Yeah.
What I'm going to try to do is I want to do a positive show. I'm sick of people yelling and screaming. And also, we got a bunch of double agents. And what I mean by that, we got a lot of white folks who act like they in for the cause and they're not. And we got a lot of black folks who act like they in for the cause and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They make a lot of money on chaos. And I'm really just sick of the chaos, and I want to have sit-down conversations where I challenge people and just have a positive, controlled conversation about race.
And this is the race card coming on TNT on when? 2017.
Before the next election, because my first show is about this Democrat-Republican thing.
Oh, so it's coming up before November. It's coming out this year.
Well, it's got to come on because I'm not sure what these parties are actually doing for black folks or poor folks.
That is a huge question.
It's interesting, Mike. I told people I voted Democratic every day in my life. And other than the fact that I can dunk a basketball, I'm trying to figure out exactly what they have done for me and all the other poor black people who grew up with me in Alabama. Not saying the Republican Party is better because I think they're full of it also.
Right.
But I want to ask some prominent Democrats why 99% of black people vote Democratic. What exactly are we in a better situation because of that? And I'm going to ask some prominent Republicans why we don't vote for y'all or why we should vote for y'all.
Well, good question. But before I let you go, it seems like, you got great opinions, but maybe you have some great answers as well. And you see how
I don't have any answers, my brother. My question is, I have voted Democrat my entire life.
Uh-huh.
And I want to know why, number one, other than my grandmother told us to.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know exactly what they have did to make, first of all, it's not just about being a Democrat or Republican. It's about rich against poor. But my question is, what exactly have they done where they get 95 to 98% of our vote, and what have they actually did to make our lives better? And I want to ask the same question to the Republicans. Why should we vote for y'all, and why don't we vote for y'all?
That is a damn good question. Real quick before I let you go, I know there was a time when, I don't know if you were kidding or not, running for governor of Alabama as a Republican. What would it take? We see Donald Trump is now the Republican nominee for president. It's possible. Well, what would it take for you to run for office?
Well, I've been approached by the Democrats and the Republicans about running for governor, but I'm not going to run because these parties are so silly. They disagree on every subject. You watch television every day, and we watch the same interview, and they have four people, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and they sit there and they defend their guy or they bash the other guy. It's to the point where it's just silly.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching. I watch CNN most of the time, and I'm sitting there like, I watch the same interview by Trump or Hillary, and 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. They just bash whoever just said something, and I just feel bad for the people because they're supposed to take care of these people. Now, let's get one thing, Mike. I don't care who the president is. I'm gonna make enough money. I should have enough by now. It doesn't matter to me who the president. I worry about other people more than I do myself.
Okay. I understand what you're saying there. Hey, Charles, man, I appreciate your time as always, man. Always enjoy you, man. You always come through for me. Get better, get that hip better, and I'll be checking out the race card when it comes out, man, before the election.
I appreciate it, my brother. You take care of yourself and continue success.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it, my brother. That's Charles Barkley hanging out with us here on the Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.